All right, fellas, let's talk X factors in the Western Division. And we're going to start off with Dallas, Bob Stoops, and the Renegades. Pastel, who do you have as your X factor for Dallas this year?
Yeah, so Derron Smith from Fresno State got drafted in the sixth round by the Cincinnati Bengals. He's kind of like Scooby Wright from what I mentioned earlier in the segment. He's one of those players that, man, he was a playmaker in college. I mean, his junior year, he had 8 interceptions, 4 sacks. He's just one of those guys. He's kind of like Tyrann Mathieu. He's always around the ball, always
Yeah.
around the ball, always making plays. And then when he got to the NFL, I mean, he played okay for the most part, bounced around from team to team. But you can just tell, like, I think the game was possibly a little too fast for him. Maybe it was a little too much for him. He didn't have as much of an impact. Physically, he's not as dynamic as some other athletes in the NFL. But he's still pretty young. And I think when he goes to the XFL, he's going to bring those talents and that ball hawking ability that he had in college right back to the XFL and just be just as much of a playmaker and X factor that he was at Fresno State.
It's crazy. When I was putting together his highlights, like you said, Pastel, he's always around the ball. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's a tip ball, it's deflected, or just, he comes out of nowhere to make a play. Like, the guy's a ball hawk. And that's just something that certain guys have and certain guys don't. So I think he's going to be a huge asset down in Dallas for Bob Stoops in the secondary there.
Yeah, you can't teach instincts. And I know his 40 time a little slow is in the 4.6 range. And he might be a little bit limited athletically. But if you're an instinctual safety, that always puts you ahead of a lot of the competition because you just can't teach it. You have it or you don't, like Riley said, it's innate. So I think it's a great pickup.
Well,
Kenny, why don't you go ahead and – oh, sorry, go ahead and pass it
well,
on.
especially with quarterbacks that, again, they're not in that NFL caliber and necessarily like starting caliber yet, right? So they probably do give reads, and you could probably still read their eyes. So like instinctual DBs like Derron Smith, quarterbacks are going to give tips, and they're going to be able to make plays off of these quarterbacks that are still somewhat inexperienced, still not as polished as some other quarterbacks, say, in the NFL.
What's up, football fans? Visit xflchalktalk.com to get the latest analysis, discussions, interviews, and news from around the league. You can also sign up for our email list so you can receive notifications on when content is posted focused on your favorite XFL team.